Alright, what's up, everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be giving 3 winners and 3 losers of the NBA free agency period. It's basically died down now at this point. Right now, we're just waiting on James Harden and Damian Lillard trades, and those are probably not going to happen for a long time if they even do happen. So I'm going to give winners and losers of free agency. Yeah, thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It helps out a lot. Look at the analytics. A little bit less than 1% of you that actually watch the videos are subscribed. So, if you like the content around here, hit the subscribe button. It really mean a whole lot. And yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. And yeah, before I start giving the winners and losers, I just want to say these are my opinions of winners and losers. If you disagree, that's fine. We all have different opinions. Doesn't really matter. I'm just giving my personal picks for winners and losers. All right, let's get right into it. The first winner I have is the LA Lakers. They came into this offseason with not a whole lot of money, and they walked out with some very good players considering how much money they had and what position they were in free agency. They re-signed Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. They also brought in Jackson Hayes, Taurean Prince, Cam Reddish, and Gabe Vincent. They lost Mo Bamba, Malik Beasley, Troy Brown Jr., Dennis Schroeder, and Lonnie Walker all went to other teams. And then they have guys like Tristan Thompson, Wenyen Gabriel, Shaq Harrison, and Scottie Pippen Jr. that are free agents. But yeah, the Lakers came in. They didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. There was some talk about potentially Kyrie Irving trying to get to the Lakers. But the Lakers didn't go that route. The Lakers went a different route of, going with building around LeBron and AD and a bunch of good role players instead of getting the third star with the big three and then a bunch of just randoms, which I like. I think it really worked out last year. You saw at the trade deadline when they made a lot of those moves to acquire new players. They looked a whole lot better and they actually build a really good team around LeBron and AD instead of trying to get a third star and then just building with minimum contracts. And then this offseason, they kind of doubled down on it and did really good. They brought back Austin Reeves on a very cheap deal, probably the cheapest deal you could have got him for. 4 years, 56. That was really good. They also brought back D'Angelo Russell, which isn't an amazing, thing. But again, where was D'Lo really gonna go? And at this point, Lakers didn't really have a point guard like that, so it was like, you know what, D'Lo, you can come back. It's only a 2-year deal as well. And then the signings he signed first, Gabe Vincent was a big shock. 3 years, 33 million. That's a very good deal for Gabe Vincent for just having the playoff run that he had. He brings another shooting guy to this Laker team. They love their shooters around LeBron and AD, so he's gonna fit in good. Cam Reddish is a dude that you could take a chance on a pretty small contract. He was a top pick. Obviously, has a lot of potential. Just hasn't really found the team to really unlock it and show his full potential. So Lakers, they get him, and it's like, why not grab him, see if he can, play a role and really, take strides while he's with us, And then they also signed Taurean Prince, who I think is a very, very good signing, especially for the minimum deal. Taurean Prince is a really solid wing, very long, good defender, and can knock down some threes, rebound as well. Like he's a very solid guy. I think he's gonna play a pretty good role for this Laker team. And then Jackson Hayes as well. He's a center that again is kind of like Cam Reddish, where he was a top pick, has a few moments, but hasn't really had the best start to his career. And now the Lakers signed him for a short deal. And it's like, why not come here, play a limited role, and see what he can do? Just block shots and dunk on people. That's what he's gonna do. So yeah, the Lakers. Yeah, just looking at what they came into with and what they walked out of here with, I think the Lakers are a big winner. They got some really, really good role players that are really going to fit this team and help LeBron and AD out. I think it's going to be really good for them. Next, we're going to go to a loser that I have. And a loser I have is the Golden State Warriors. Look at their free agency. They brought in Corey Joseph, Dario Saric, and they also traded for Chris Paul. On the way out, they lost Dante DiVincenzo, Ty Jerome, and they traded away Jordan Poole, Ryan Rollins, and Patrick Baldwin, with JaMychal Green, Andre Iguodala, and Anthony Lamb still being free agents. The Warriors are a loser not because of the deals they made, but because of the things they kind of didn't do, honestly. I thought the Warriors were going to come into this offseason and try to, of course, they re-signed Draymond Green. Obviously, that's the big one. And then I thought they were gonna get some really nice role players and hitting on some guys to really fit in with this team and more vets guys. And they did that. They brought in Corey Joseph and Dario Saric, and in free agency they brought those two guys in who are solid players. But I don't know. I just thought a little bit more was coming for this Warriors team, especially after the year they had last year, coming off winning a championship. I thought they were going to be kind of more aggressive in free agency and try to go get guys like Torrey Craigs and guys like those. They settled for Corey Joseph and Dario Saric. They're probably maybe not done. Maybe they could sign another one or two guys. But at this point, those are cool signings if they're gonna be solid for them. Obviously, they're good players, but I just thought a little bit more was coming. And then you have the Chris Paul for Jordan Poole trade. I think that was a very interesting situation. I think Chris Paul's gonna come in and help that team, especially with their bench. Their bench was horrible last season, which is why I thought they were gonna try to come in and make some moves in free agency. But I think Chris Paul's gonna come in and help the second unit, and he's gonna be good in the Warriors system. They did have to give up Jordan Poole, which kind of hurt a little bit for the Warriors, but with the contract he had and all that stuff, it looked like it was gonna happen potentially, and yeah, so now they look like they still look solid. Obviously, the Warriors still have Steph, Clay, and Draymond, which is if you have that, you're good. But I thought a little bit more roster building, like filling out the roster was coming, and maybe it still is. There's still a couple of good free agents out there that aren't being looked at. But I don't know. I just thought the Warriors are going to do a little bit more this free agency. That's why I have them as a loser. The next winner I had was the Phoenix Suns. The Suns free agency, they traded for Bradley Beal, and they also traded for Jordan Goodwin in that trade. And then in free agency, they brought in Keita Bates-Diop, Drew Eubanks, Eric Gordon, Chimezie Metu, Yuta Watanabe. They lost. They traded away Chris Paul, Landry Shamet in the Bradley Beal trade. They also lost Torrey Craig and Jock Landale, with Darius Baisley, Bismack Biyombo, Terrence Ross, T.J. Warren, Saban Lee are all free agents still. Yeah, the Suns they kind of started off this whole player movement free agency thing right before the draft when they traded for Bradley Beal. That kind of set everything off. Make a huge trade to go get him to build kind of a big three with Durant, Booker, and Beal, also having DeAndre Ayton in there. And they came in with no money because the new CBA, they have 4 players on max contracts basically. So they came in with little to basically nothing that they could do, and they walked out with some really solid role players. These guys don't have the biggest names, obviously. Like a lot of people don't fully know who Keita Bates-Diop and Chimezie Metu and Yuta Watanabe and Jordan Goodwin, who they are really. But they just found some really just good basketball players. Guys that don't have big names, aren't flashy, but they're high IQ. They know what spots to be in. They know what role they're going to play. They're not going to do too much, and they're going to be really good. Keita Bates-Diop is a good forward. I feel like I can rebound, stretch the floor, play defense stuff. Chimezie Metu is kind of the same, brings a lot of energy, can rebound, can stretch the floor. Yuta Watanabe is a shooter. He's going to, that corner 3-point shot, if you leave him open, he's knocking it down. Drew Eubanks, very solid big man that's going to block shots and rebound. Jordan Goodwin's a really good two-way backup point guard. And they brought in Eric Gordon for the big name, a guy that could be a microwave kind of scorer, shoot the ball, hit some shots. So yeah, and Bol Bol could be next. Bol Bol got released by the Magic. The Suns are front runner to sign him. Maybe if they bring him in, that's another guy that comes in and plays a really good role. I really like what the Suns did. They didn't go out after they got Bradley Beal. They knew that they couldn't really. They were kind of locked in to this team. They just had to kind of find their way to build around the edges. And I think they did that as well as they could have, considering how much money they had in the situation they were in. So I think the Suns are a winner because they filled out their roster with some pretty solid players. The second loser I have is the Chicago Bulls. Bulls in free agency, they re-signed Nikola Vucevic and Andre Drummond. They brought in Javon Carter, Torrey Craig, and then free agency they lost Patrick Beverly. Dosunmu is still a restricted free agent, and they also have Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. out there in free agency. Chicago's a loser because because of things that they did and didn't do. What they did was they brought in to this team for another year, even though we know that this team isn't really that good. And they kind of doubled down on this team by re-signing Vucevic to that deal, by bringing Andre Drummond back, by bringing in Javon Carter, Torrey Craig, who are very solid role players, obviously. But they brought him in to try to kind of be bring this team back to the playoffs. And those two guys, I don't know if they're doing that. And just the Bulls, they're the loser because they kind of bought into this team of being okay. And I didn't like that. I thought they were going to finally make some trades, maybe Vucevic, DeRozan, Levine gone, bringing some young guys and stuff like that. They didn't do that. They kept this team together. And yeah, the Bulls just look That's why they're a loser in free agency. I feel like they should have sold and just started this thing over. They didn't really need to, bring back Vooch on that contract, bring in Javon Carter, Torrey Craig, who are gonna come in and fill good roles. Obviously, Adusumu still a restricted free agent. They brought back Kobe White as well. Like I don't know, it's just weird in Chicago. That's why they're a loser for me. They just didn't. They doubled down on being okay, and I didn't like that much. And then my final winner of free agency is the Houston Rockets. Now I know a lot of people talk about the Houston Rockets in free agency because the money. They overpaid some guys in free agency. They brought in Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, Aaron Holiday, Jock Landale. And then they traded away Kenyon Martin Jr., Josh Christopher, Usman Garuba, Ty Washington, traded away. And they have a lot of guys in free agency. A lot of guys that are still, now in free agency. They didn't re-sign them. A lot of people talking about the contract, especially to Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks. Fred VanVleet got a 3-year, $130 million contract, which is he's going to get paid about $43 million a year. Is he worth that? No. He's not worth $43 million. And people are just seeing the money and saying, oh, the Rockets are bad. Oh, they're stupid. Why did they pay him that much money? They paid Fred VanVleet $40 million and Dylan Brooks $20 million because they had to. They had maybe $60 million in cap space because everyone on their team is on a rookie contract, so they have money to spend. With the new CBA and stuff, they have to spend 90% of their cap space. They can't just hold on to it and bring it over to the next season. That's not how it works. They can't just hold on to that money, And what are they going to use that money on? It's not like they're trading for anybody, a star, anytime soon or anything. They're still the Rockets. And so, and that also combining with this free agency class not being star heavy, they couldn't, even if they wanted to go after a star in this free agency, they couldn't because the two stars in this free agency were Harden and Irving. And Harden didn't want to go to the Rockets. He wanted to get traded, and Kyrie wanted to stay in Dallas. And after that, there's no star players in free agency. It wasn't like we had KD, LeBron, Kyrie. It's not like we had 7 superstars in this free agency class. It was a very not a great free agency class that we've seen the last few years. So combining those two things together with having a lot of money, having to spend the money, and not having a lot of the guys that are gonna be worth that money to be in free agency, it's like we kind of had to settle. Well, maybe not settle, but Fred VanVleet was one of the bigger guys on the market, and he really kind of fit that team as a dude that was gonna be. The one thing the Rockets needed was some veteran leadership and some culture set over there. And Fred VanVleet's a guy that can do that. He come to Houston. He's a champion, all-star, had a really nice culture in Toronto. He come over, bring that veteran leadership and culture to Houston, but also not being able to get in the way of guys like Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, and them from developing because he's not going to be hogging the ball the whole time. So I think he really fit that team, and the Rockets saw that he fit the team. And so looking around the league, the Raptors are probably going to try to offer maybe $30 million. But if the Rockets really wanted Fred VanVleet and they had money to spend, they kind of had to give Freddie that money. They had to give him $40 million because it's like he really fits our team. We have the salary cap. There's not much better we can get out here, so we have to kind of give it to Fred. And it's also it's like the Rockets aren't gonna use that money for anything special anyway. The Rockets are still in a rebuild. They still have a lot of young players. Not like they're gonna go out and sign Kevin Durant. Like they weren't gonna do that. So why not tie the money to Fred VanVleet, a guy who is gonna really fit their team and help their young guys out? Yeah, he's gonna get paid a lot of money, a lot more money than he should have. But hey, we've seen a lot of people get overpaid. So why not have him be another one of them? And then Dylan Brooks as well, kind of similar thing. Like looking around, they had to spend some money. They still have money left after the Freddie deal. Dylan Brooks is a guy that was on their radar. He's a guy that is gonna come in and really fit their team, especially with their head coach and their culture. He's gonna fit their team while also not being able to not getting in the way of young guys like Jabari Smith Jr. and Cam Whitmore and guys like those. So it's like, all right, Dylan Brooks and a lot of teams, he was estimated about maybe 15, 14 mil, 20. Okay, why not? For a 4-year deal, why not go out and get this dude that's really gonna fit our team? And we might overpay for him a little bit, but hey, again, a lot of people have been overpaid. Why not? Why not? We have this money to spend. So yeah, that was why those two guys got paid their money. It wasn't that they thought Fred VanVleet was worth 43 million or Dylan Brooks was worth 20 mil. It's that they kind of had to give them that money because they didn't really have any other choices. They also brought in Jeff Green, which is a very interesting signing as well. I like that for them. He's a guy that just coming off a championship. He's been around everywhere basically, and he's gonna be a guy that can really help in the locker room. And then Jock Lando is a very solid signing as well, backup big, that's gonna bring a lot of energy, rebound the ball, score in the paint, and then Aaron Holiday, another point guard, just in case, just another third string point guard. So yeah, I think the Rockets had a really good free agency. They brought in guys that are really gonna fit in their culture, really gonna help their young guys better. They're gonna fit in with Ime Udoka, and they're not gonna be able to they're not gonna take a lot away from their young guys that they're developing to try to take the reins of this team. So I think the Rockets did a really, really good job in free agency, and they don't look like they're going to be the Rockets that we've seen the last few years. They're probably going to be a little better. Are they going to be like a playoff team contender? No. But they're going to be a lot better than we've seen in the last few years. And then my final loser free agency, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the whole James Harden thing kind of made them this way. With James Harden opting in to and requesting, like, I don't want to be here anymore. And the Sixers being like, all right, we're going to trade you. If they do trade him, that's also why, like, I don't know. Like, Harden wants to get traded. Harden doesn't want to be in Philly anymore. Daryl Morey is James Harden's right-hand man, it seems like. And Daryl Morey's like, no, we're going to try to do everything we can to keep you here because you're the only thing we have left. If we want to do anything with the process in this era, we need you. And Harden's like, all right, but I don't want to be here anymore. And it's this whole thing that's probably going to get dragged out for a while. Honestly, they're looking more and more every day like Harden's not going to get traded and he's going to stay in Philly. But even then, after the James Harden, man, it's like looking in for their free agency, they didn't really do that great. They brought back Montrezl Harrell and Paul Reed. They also brought in Mo Bamba and Patrick Beverley. On the way out, they lost Jalen McDaniels, Shake Milton, and Georges Niang. And I don't know. It's just looking at the Sixers right now, they just look really weird. Like I don't feel like they improved off of last year. I think Mo Bamba and Patrick Beverley are very solid players. Actually, obviously, Patrick Beverley is probably gonna love it there in Philly. Fans are gonna love him. Mo Bamba, we'll see what he can do there. They also have 4 centers. They have Embiid, Harrell, Reed, and Bamba. I don't know how that's gonna work. They didn't have a pick in this draft, so they don't really have any young rookie players I'm excited for. Yeah, it just and then they have the whole Tobias Harris thing as well. I don't know, just Philly just in a weird place right now where there's a lot of kind of drama going on. They didn't really get that much better. Are they still a contender? I don't know. Maybe I don't know anymore. Like Philly's just in this very weird state, and if it continues to be like this, and Harden, and if eventually, I think the process is gonna be over pretty soon. I think the process is gonna be over pretty soon, especially if James Harden is eventually traded and not on the Sixers next season. I think it's gearing towards Joel Embiid saying, "Hey, put the request in, put the trade request in." At that point, like I don't know, it's just a weird situation in Philly, and their free agency didn't really help that. They didn't really get that much better. They didn't really get that much worse either, which is weird. It's like they're just kind of like the same as last year, honestly. And then you add the whole James Harden issue into this thing, and it becomes a whole lot worse. So I think Philly's a loser in free agency because of that. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.